So no glowing references from Stanionis. His first name is a bit of a handful, so forgive me. He speaks English very well. Without saying that Virgil pulled out, he kind of questioned the legitimacy of the withdrawal. And I didn't think about it until he subtly questioned it. He wasn't like, oh, he pulled out. He wasn't like that. Not at all. But it makes you think, like, the pullout came shortly after the lawsuit that Golden Boy filed against Ryan Garcia, that he has to meet all his obligations of the contract, etc. And it looks like it doesn't look good right now. It hasn't looked good between Golden Boy and Ryan for a while, but this looks like the straw that is going to break the camel's vertebrae. And maybe they thought to themselves, look, if Ryan's gone, we can't afford to risk Virgil in this fight here, because if he loses, you're left with Jaime. I mean, Gilberto Ramirez is not really hot right now. He's got a rebuilding job to do after that Bivol fight, hasn't he? Stanionis was very disappointed. They didn't tell him until late that Virgil wouldn't make it to the ring. No replacement opponent. Then there's compensation. Not satisfied with how they've handled that. Refunds for air travel for himself, his team. He had to fly his coach in from Lithuania. And there was a lot of issues getting refunds. I'm not even sure if that's all resolved. And he wasn't happy. And it seems like it was very unprofessional. He doesn't seem like a guy who would just complain and moan for the sake of it. Looks a little unprofessional from Golden Boy. Stanionis really wanted the work. If Virgil was struggling at the weight, he was prepared to renegotiate the weight. He said he's not a small guy himself. I believe he said he was prepared to go up to 152. And if they're going to move Virgil up, why don't they just reschedule the fight with Stanionis at a higher weight? In all truth, it's probably a little late for that. I think Stanionis wants to be as far away from Golden Boy as possible. He advised fighters not to sign with Golden Boy, that they will drop you as soon as you lose. I don't know on the basis of what he was saying that. Ryan just lost. I don't think they were going to get rid of Ryan. It was like Ryan is going to initiate any split if a split does happen. Andy Cruz against Juan Carlos Burgos. Very smooth. Was actually quite impressive with the offense. I think that might have maybe not surprised a lot of people who saw him as an amateur, but he's making them transitions with Boots' dad. Used his feet very well to circle out of any potential dangerous counters, but always seemed to be in punching range. And he punched very well to the body, so he's picking it up very quick. Like, that's a very experienced opponent for a debut. And there were a few times it looked like he could get Burgos out of there, but Burgos has never been stopped in how many fights now, was it? Over 40 fights or something like that. Yeah, it was very smooth. Kept his chin down. And it's very easy to raise your chin up to try and jab or throw shots at the taller guy. Not Andy. The technique was very good. It was very good. And if you can fast track a boxer, he looks like one of them that you could, like Lomachenko. So we'll see how fast they feel they need to fast track him. It shouldn't really be up to Eddie Hearn. It should be up to Bozy. And although Bozy might have been impressed with what he saw, like I said, when I saw that interview pre-fight Burgos, he didn't seem to be on the same page as Eddie. Like, yeah, let's start calling out Keyshawn, Shakur, and the rest of them. Not yet. Bozy wants to continue to work and not get carried away. And you need a cool head like that. You can bring a bit of realism to the hype. But, yo, look, he looked good. He did look good. Fast hands, very accurate, double jab, good ring generalship. I mean, for a debut, like, but what would you expect? He was one of the top amateurs for years, wasn't he? Go check the amateur resume. Guys like Carl Froch and Simon Jordan, they actually got together and did a video about Anthony Joshua. He has no legacy. He's scared of his shadow. And countless other things. Simon Jordan questioned his resume. He doesn't think he's got a good resume. He's not trying to fight people. He's this, he's that. Countless video after video. In fact, they both got YouTube platforms, and without AJ content, they basically wouldn't have a platform. And they run their mouth about AJ, AJ doesn't respond or say anything as they keep making the videos and keep making the videos. The one time AJ responds to Talk Sport, Simon Jordan jumps up straight away. He's got to take the criticism. Why is he saying this about us? We gave him a platform. Without us, he'd be nothing, and all this and that. Carl Froch. AJ throws a shot at his nose. Then he jumps up. Oh, that's a bitch move talking about a man's nose. You got to accept what we have to say. Why? Like, what part of the game is that? He's responded to you once. One response to your repeated disses. Are you serious? Why is it they think that AJ... Why is it they think they have some authority over AJ? You can't say this, you can't reply, you can't do... What's up with that? There's something wrong with that. Sounds almost like, how dare you respond to us? What's going on here? Someone else don't think this is weird. You're a victim. This is just a victimhood. This is a self-made man and you're calling him a victim. A big grown 32-year-old man is a victim for what? Exactly, he's a victim by replying to you. He's just got to take it and accept it. What? Grow a pair. Tell Fury to grow a pair and fight Usyk. But this is language they wouldn't use against Tyson Fury. Now, FA AJAGBA against Jan KOSSSOBUSTSKY is set to be co-feature on an ESPN card where Jared Anderson would headline against RUDENKO. Now, they're really pulling the brakes on Jared. They said he was going to be fighting top 10 opposition, and he won last time out against Charles Martin. He wasn't flawed. He wasn't badly beaten. He won the fight. So what's with the ESPN top rank protection racket now? What's up with that? Because he was supposed to fight KOSSSOBUSTSKY, who has cleared up his visa issues or whatever prevented him from fighting last time. He's cleared that up. But he's taking on AJAGBA rather than they reschedule the fight with Jared. They were talking about Jared Anderson is this and this and that. Well, if he's this and that, run back to Charles Martin fighting a man or put him in with KOSSSOBUSTSKY. It's a joke. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter. I'm not saying one fight makes him a bad fighter. But RUDENKO is going back further, regressing further back than Charles Martin, Jerry Forrest, etc. He's regressing. And he was supposed to be fighting top 10 opponents this year. Elvis Rodriguez, 27 years of age, the Dominican kid, so you know where he comes from. 15 wins, 13 inside the distance, 1 loss and 1 draw. 27 years of age, 5'10", 71-inch reach. His only loss was to the pretty youthful Kenneth Sims Jr. He's not a bad fighter. That was a majority in 2021. So he picked up the biggest win of his career, taking out Viktor Postol, who is now 31-4-0, former WBC light welterweight champion. Now Viktor is 39 years of age. He's on the slide. His last fight before that was a loss to Gary Antoine Russell. He lost by TKO in the 10th, and before that he lost to Jose Ramirez in 2020. That was quite a disputed fight. He was inactive for 2021, and you can see the age and the rust, the lack of ambition is resulting in him getting stopped now, you know. Like he gave Josh Taylor a decent fight. He stayed the course with Terence Crawford, doggedly. But he's not the same fighter. And as Boxing Scene correctly reported, whereas he complained about the Gary Russell stoppage, he didn't complain about this stoppage here. And when Rodriguez started picking it up to the body and really letting his hands go with bad intentions, there was no way back for Postol. His left eye was swelling up pretty badly. A right hook sent Postol down in the 6th round, and it was stopped in the 7th. Elvis is an entertaining fighter, and there's some very good fights out there for him at 140. Let's just say that for now. I don't want to go over the top, I need to see more, but he looked pretty handy. A rangy southpaw might find himself in a predicament where he's hard to match with those who think they have something to lose. Frank Martin versus HARUTUNYAN was a really good fight, in my opinion. Very close. HARUTUNYAN lost a close decision. He is now 12-1, 7 inside the distance. He's from Germany. Frank Martin is now 18-0 with 12 inside the distance. I think Martin spent too long trying to counter punch early and wasn't prepared for the volume that Harutunyan brought, and a very good left hook to the body. It was a competitive fight till the last two, and I guess that's where they justified giving Frank Martin a decision, because he did finish strong in the 11th and 12th championship rounds. Harutunyan took a knee and it wasn't apparent what punch put him in trouble. It looks like he was just in distress, perhaps fatiguing, perhaps it just all got to him. But he went the distance and they gave Frank Martin a UD. Now all of a sudden Frank Martin is in the hot seat, whether he's as good as they thought when he outpointed Michel Rivera late last year, which made him hot. And then before that, when he fought Jackson Marinas, people weren't impressed. So it's another example that the boxing fan and boxing media don't look at the body of work. And one thing that's definitely lost in this generation is sometimes you just got to win the fight. And all this, let's judge him one fight where he looks good, and then one fight where he's won the fight, but it's not spectacular. You got to look at the body of work. You know, Harutunyan was a little better than Build. He was an unknown quantity. Can happen. I believe Frank Martin is a good fighter. I do. Let's see when he gets to the championship end of the weight class against Javanta, Shakur, Loma, if Devin's still there, etc. Let's see how he fares then. Stephen Fulton, WBC, WBO World Super Bantamweight Champion. He's currently 21-0, 8 inside the distance. No defeats, no draws. From Philly. 5'6.5", 70.5-inch reach. Inoue, the challenger, is 5'5" and has a 67.5-inch reach. The reach could be significant on the night. Fulton not a very big puncher. Inoue, however, is a big puncher. 21 knockouts in 24 victories, no losses, no draws. If Inoue becomes a 4-weight champion, he's currently the undisputed bantamweight champion. It would be a great achievement, but I am reminded there's 6 weight divisions from super bantam to minimum weight, with only 14 pounds separating minimum weight from super bantam. Too many weight classes? Yeah, I really believe so. At the lower end of the lower weights, yes, I believe so. A lot of stuff to weigh up. If Fulton keeps it long, he's a very good boxer, actually. Could be a long night for Inoue. And he throws a decent amount of punches too. He has to, because he's not a big banger. Inoue not really a pressure fighter. He likes to work behind a jab, use his legs to create angles. Solid fundamentals. But can he really box with Fulton? Like Figueroa seemed to have a lot of answers for Fulton's superior boxing skills. Pressure. But he's a lot different fighter from Inoue. And I'm not talking about the size different. Yes, Figueroa is a lot bigger. I'm talking about style. Inoue don't throw as much punches as that, and he's not as reckless. He wouldn't necessarily give up his height if he had the same advantages that Figueroa does in height over his opponents. Fulton is a Philly fighter, and they have a reputation of maybe putting on too much of a show when they can possibly box and make it a little more easier for themselves. If he bangs it out with Inoue, is that a good idea? I think if Fulton keeps it long, Inoue has issues. But if Fulton feels under pressure away from home in Inoue's backyard that he needs to do more, could play into Inoue's favour. If Fulton perhaps takes unnecessary risks, I don't think Inoue's punching power will totally evaporate at 122. No, I don't believe it will. I still believe he'll be the harder puncher. I don't think the power is the issue. I believe it's the speed. Foot speed and hand speed. If that's affected at 122, I don't see him winning the fight. So, if it goes the distance, I'm swaying more towards Fulton. An inside the distance win, I'm swaying more towards Inoue. Although I haven't seen no fragility around the chin area for Fulton, to be honest. I don't have a pick on this one. I don't have a pick. The bigger man should win it, but I don't have a pick. Uh.